I give the call to the member for Wakefield.
Oh, thank you, Deputy Speaker. Well, the member for Hindmarsh brings this motion to the House. It's always very interesting to see him. The last time the member for Hindmarsh, I saw him roaming around with this sort of rhetoric was down at Holden's. He came through like a little meerkat following the minister and his tour through Holden's. And of course, we know what happened there. He toured the factory, disappeared for a while, and then we never heard anything more. Until we saw, of course, Joe Hockey's daring GM to leave. And the South Australians talk a good game about the South Australian economy, but on that critical issue of Holden's, they all came down, Minister McFarlane, the member for Hindmarsh, all these other people. They came down and toured the factory, posed for pictures. Well, my friend knows if there was a Labor government, Holden's would have continued producing cars in South Australia. But what happened was the minister came down, he toured the factory, a sort of crowd behind him, Liberal senators, the member for Hindmarsh, all touring the place. And then what did we get? Hockey dares GM to leave. And of course we know the subsequent chaos that was caused in the car industry and the automotive components industry. 50,000 jobs lost. That's what we're looking down the barrel of. And of course we had, I noticed the language in this motion, Part C, in rather glorious terms, says that that we need to liberate the people of South Australia to realise their destiny. Liberate them, in this case, as the Deputy Leader says, liberate them from their jobs. And we know that that's what the Liberal Party planned to do, because Tony Abbott said, this is what Tony Abbott said. When he announced the $100 million plan to help halt the Holden's closure, it's a $100 million plan that now has been stretched to Geelong and Altona and to the whole economy of Western Melbourne. Of course, he said, Prime Minister Tony Abbott says many Holden workers will be liberated by the loss of their jobs at the car maker. So we see the same language used, a quite extraordinary language, that you might be liberated by losing your job. Now we know that around the world there is a debate going on, growth versus austerity, whether we grow the economy or whether we cut it back. That's the great debate around the world. And in the rest of the world, they tried austerity first and they're now clinging to growth. In this country, we grew. We decided to grow the economy, and the Liberals now want to rescue us from that growth by cutting, by austerity. And that is the debate around the world. And the Liberal Party are going to, get it back the front. They're going to save us from a growing economy. And only in this sort of strange, weird world that the Liberal Party and the member for Hindmarsh create are workers liberated by losing their jobs. They're liberated by factory closures. And only in this world, cutting taxes produces more revenues and balanced budgets. Only in this weird world. It's sort of voodoo economics. Now, we know what the Liberal Party plan is for South Australia. It's the same plan they had in New South Wales. It's the same plan they had in Queensland. It's the same plan they have for the nation, which is a secret commission for cuts. They don't have the courage to tell the South Australian people about the cuts. And we had the member for Barker talking about how there's 20,000 public sector jobs. Doesn't have the courage to use the figures of the former opposition leader, Isabel Redmond, in a sort of a wave of honesty, admitted that they were going to cut 20,000 public sector jobs. That's what he wants to do. That's what he's intimating at. That's what the secret commission of cuts will do. And we know that they'll hold back on infrastructure. Whatever they say, Torrens to Torrens is ready to go. Instead, they'll hold back. And we know that they'll wreck our shipbuilding industry, and they won't go ahead with the Collins-class submarine. That you can see them slowly, getting around it. They've got a US Navy general in charge of reviewing current shipbuilding. We can see them backing away from the Collins-class. And so the question before the South Australian people is, do you want to continue with a growing economy, with cranes over the horizon of Adelaide, with growth, or do you want to see cutbacks? Do you want to see austerity? Do you want to see job losses? Do you want to see the resulting economic damage? And you only have to look to Queensland and you only have to look to this Parliament to see their plans in action. Jobs lost economic growth collapsing.
I thank the member for Wakefield.